Hello everyone, and welcome to Into the Mists, a Guild Wars 2 podcast put on by MMORPG.com and SittingOnACouch.com. I am Bob, filling in for Boss, who is still not able to make it, and I am joined by Gbro of the ASP program, Jason Winter of MMORPG.com, and our special guest, Dini Kong, to fill in for Casey.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
I'm doing fine, but I don't know about Gbro there.
And yeah, Gbro.
I'm gonna say it wrong as many ways as possible before I get it
It's
right on
okay.
accident.
Everyone from that side of the world seems to say Gbro. It's okay. It's Gbro.
Well, it's your guys' fault.
It has a
for
nice
calling
ring to it.
games- It's your guys' fault for having games being beta instead of beta. So
Oh yeah. Beta.
That's a thing? That's gross.
yeah,
Beta
it
Max.
is.
I feel old, but good otherwise.
Alright, we want to, I don't know, I guess we could jump into the end of the World v World season. Some of the fun that's been going on there. I believe they officially have announced that they've got everything fixed, and that you will get your rewards, I think it was the 17th?
Yeah, next Tuesday,
Alright, everything's fixed. All is good with the world again.
and we get 100 extra or something like that too. So
Oh, really?
Yep. Free prizes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can link it in the chat as well. Okay, this is what they have officially said. Tournament rewards for the World vs. World Spring 2014 tournament will be available in the June 17th build. Once that build is live, you will be able to speak to the battle historian in any World v World map to get an updated tournament chest that has the correct rewards and number of tickets. La da da da. So, the previous tickets, okay, will be voided. Okay, that's a good idea. Right, that is a good idea. So it actually sounds like this sorted out. Problem is the communication in between the first and the last post. That's the problem. How many people play World v World? The biggest amount of population in the game.
Mhm.
Yep.
And there was 10 days in between. I'm not a World v World player like hardcore, but I wanted my tokens.
Yes, everybody did.
And and I can't imagine what a hardcore World v World player would be like. But at least it's getting sorted, and it's better than never.
What was even worse about it was that many of us did get their tokens, but they denied the vendor. So, it is kind of crappy that a lot of us were just like, well, I got mine, so screw everybody else. But when you have 2 stacks
That's America
of
for
these items in your inventory and they're just taunting you, I don't want these. They look so shiny.
yeah, I know. I got mine. And I just immediately went to the Borderlands. I was like, come on, and I just started looking around for a vendor. I'm like, didn't see anybody, so I asked in chat, or someone else asked in chat just before. I'm like, where's the guy? I'm like, he's not in game yet. I was like, oh.
There's
Yeah.
still people asking in chat as well.
Yeah, I still see it occasionally.
It's like-
But there are also still people trying to find the Mystic Forge and Lions Arch, so there's that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. You just wonder about how they had 9 weeks to figure it out, and then they need another 10 days. I guess it's just weird.
So there's
It's one thing
also
when
the
it-
issue that... Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's one thing when it's when they're doing this stuff every 2 weeks and they have bugs, but you figure they'd have enough time to figure this one out. So
There are also some people that still claim to have not received their Season 1 rewards, so...
Yeah, that's.
I'll believe in my Mistforged weapons when I hold them in my grubby little hands.
I don't know what these things look like. I just want to get a new skin. That's all I get. I'm just like, give me new stuff, because that's
Yep.
what Guild Wars 2 is. New stuff for my character to look cool with in something.
And especially skins that were earned entirely in-game. They've been a little bit few and far between lately. And these Mistforged weapons are very shiny.
Yeah, I followed that Edge of the Mist Karma train for a really long time to get these rewards.
True, very true.
I did real world versus world for the first couple weeks of it, and then started running the Karma train for a while to finish it off. But
hmm
Yeah,
There
it's
are
true.
many
You could-
rewards to be gotten in the Karma Train. It's a lot of fun, too.
It's weird though. Since the tournament has ended, I've been in there and just missed a little bit, and people are actually fighting each other. I don't get it.
Ew.
It's been happening lately. Some people
And the
may
best
know.
best part is no one is screaming about it in chat. Like, why are you guys doing that? Just farm karma. So,
So there have been a few commanders that have spearheaded that. I know Zushin from Maguma especially has. He doesn't go for objectives in Edge of the Mist anymore. He finds the enemy Zerg and he just torpedoes into them, and it is so glorious.
awesome.
To the point that the pugs on the enemy teams have actually started to get wise to it. So they're learning. Everybody in Edge of the Mist is starting to learn how to do open field fighting all of a sudden, and it's actually quite nice.
Yeah, but how am I supposed to level now? I can't just go in Karma Train.
Do hearts. They're so much fun.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Do SPVP reward tracks where you can get some awesome stuff.
Oh yeah.
Cross-scored
That's
champion
actually
farm,
not bad.
Yeah, champion farm. Yeah.
but not the Queensdale champion farm. Oh no.
Oh no. People still
bitter
do that.
about that. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. I was doing some key farming. Talking about farming stuff. And there was just people like, yeah, why did they nerf this thing? It's like, is it worth to even think about? The thing is, it was good to see like people in the zone and stuff, which I kind of understood. But then to start playing a game where you immediately, for the first thing you see, is like 30 people in a big train just running
Yep.
through an area and like, do I want to play Guild Wars 2? I don't know.
And I
Why
read
are
stories
people
about
yelling?
I read stories about people who did nothing but that. Like that's how they got to 80, and that's what they thought the entire game was. And now they're going to quit because they don't have that anymore. So it's like whatever.
But you can find that there's so many places where you could do that exact same thing.
Yep.
Like you could have so
Yeah,
much
but you don't get
fun if
that density of champion boxes
Oh.
for that easy nature of it. You need all that bloodstone dust, you know.
They'll always go for the most profitable farm that they can find, even if it's really, really boring.
Oh, like the pavilion.
Yeah.
There you go.
The
That went
pavilion,
nicely into the.
The pavilion can be a little non-boring. It's a little less boring. There's at least some challenge to the fights. If you have
It
the
can be
good
fun.
group, you got the good gold group or whatever, you know.
Trouble is, you have to like keep that gold group a secret now, or else like everybody invades, and then suddenly you just have 700 people AFK or upscaling your boss, and then you're going from gold to bronze in one objective fight.
Oh, it's so true. I did one on EU. We were on TeamSpeak and everything, and people from the guild found out about this one, and we had like music bots, and people were doing like games and stuff, and people were screaming at each other, and it was just crazy. I was like, wow. I wonder what it's like in America.
It's pretty fine here. The only thing that we have is like, you'll call for someone to stop attacking the boss, and then you've got like two people that'll just sit there still attacking the boss, and people will like collect around them and yell at them for like
Always
minutes at a
Mesmers.
time. Yeah, but
Bloody mess.
I don't know. It does okay. I've never had that many issues with it. It's just you always have that one group, and it's never your group somehow. But you always have that one group where, you know, they got the boss down really fast and they had to stop attacking, but everybody stopped attacking too well in the boss reset. And so
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
a sudden, you're like 2 minutes before gold is over, and then someone's like, oh yeah, our boss is at 100%. And you're like, wait, what?
You've got 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah, so...
It's weird. I don't know. I feel the one thing I don't like really about it is that when I log in, I'll go and play SPVP, and then I kind of feel like I'm missing out. Like I should go and do this until it's the end of the month because there's like so much gold and potential to get items and stuff like this, and I'm like, I kind of want to go and do that, but I don't want to just stand there pressing 1 and do an interrupt every so often or whatever. And I did the bosses in the arena thing. I did that. That was fine. That was cool. I have done the pavilion a load, but I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't. It was right.
I can't get in. I have some friends. I'll have some friends in there. I'll be in their group, and I just keep joining instance. I just can never get in. I did it like once,
Oh,
2 weeks ago, but
Oh wow. They'll like, I have people tell me, right when their boss fights get over. So right when they get their rewards, that's
Mhm.
the best time to spam in, because that's when everybody's like, well, got reward, I'm
I
gone.
tried, but even then, it's just
Oh man, yeah, that's rough. Because then you
It's
know
the
that
whole
it's going
system.
on. It's like right there. You're already in the group. You can see them having fun, but you can't have fun.
they link the
Well,
great
I
loot
wanna
they got in
play.
chat.
Yeah.
Uh,
You can see them having fun.
yeah, Mega servers could definitely use a queuing system for that kind of thing.
Yes.
There's plenty of problems with Mega servers, but that's been done to death. I don't think there's anything new we can really say about the problems with it.
The queuing is perfect, like World v World maps or whatever. Have it for, I don't know. Maybe they can have instances or something, and you could join one, I don't know, instance list, like
Yep.
browsers for the SPVP. I don't know, but yeah, it's going to be kind of pointless soon, I guess, because it'll be over. I don't know. Second, what is it? The first? When's the season 2 start? I can't remember.
July
It starts
1st.
on the first, yeah.
It's the first.
Don't know if the
Mhm.
Crown Pavilion will be going away on the first or not, but yes, the
Just
season will
leave.
start then.
That's true.
Yeah, so if you want to get your season 1 rewards, if you're lazy like I was and didn't do any of season 1, you've got until the first to get them all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true.
Plenty of time to farm.
Oh yeah.
I do have to go and do that. There's one thing I want left. I want a small mini panda. I don't know if I want the panda or I want to turn into a Dolyak. I've still
You
got
want
stuff
to
in
you
my
want to turn
bag.
into a Dolyak.
Yeah, I think the
Come on.
Deliac's the better.
Come on.
I think
bro.
I do. I think I do. But not many pandas out there in Guild Wars 2.
Or
If I
you
was
could-
in the China version, maybe.
you could farm harder and get both of them.
I'm going to go do SPVP.
The worst thing about trying to get both of them, you're only guaranteed one of the super duper rare tokens to try and get those.
Yeah, how rare are those? Because I have never seen them.
Very.
Yeah, I've seen one.
I don't know anybody who's got another.
We can pay them. You can pay 10 goldish on trading post
Yeah.
to combine the two.
Oh, is that all?
The favor.
I didn't know they were or not soulbound.
It's
'Cause
it's a
they-
2-part thing you combine to get the big one.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was really
And-
cheap, like 10 silver. The other, as you said, is like 10 gold.
Jeez.
Yeah, they used to be 15 gold as well, and I was like, I don't know if I can really pay 15 gold just to get a little panda.
Mhm.
I don't know if I can do that.
15 gold is chump change. Come on.
I know, but 15 gold, I could buy some cool hammers skins. I don't know. I'm tired.
Gotta get those hammers.
Also, yeah. Also, I'm trying to go for a precursor because they hiked the price
Oh,
of
man,
them.
yeah.
as
Oh
well.
yeah, every little bit counts.
Good
Don't
luck
get me
there.
started.
But I do want to
makes
say, with
sense.
whole Crown Pavilion business, ArenaNet has finally started to show some good progression in getting PvE content and not just be follow the Zerg and press 1. I mean, it's still got a ways to go, but I think that the way they did the events did a really good job of making people try and get organized. It was
They've been
great
doing
too
that.
because
I mean,
When-
they've been trying to do the split up the Zerg thing for a while, like with Twisted Marionette, or even a little bit like Battle of Lion's Arch. They had it where you had to kind of split up to get all 1,200 people or whatever in there. It's definitely something they're looking at.
Mhm.
It's been a little tougher in Crown Pavilion because you're not absolutely forced to do it. So you're not a bad instance. People always still just Zerg together and try to go for it. But it's definitely something they realize was an issue, at least since like going back to probably the Scarlet Invasions is probably when they first realized that people aren't going to split up if you don't make them.
Yeah.
yeah. But I like that you can still do the events if you're unorganized. You just get significantly better rewards if you do the organization. Like a lot of people with Tequatl have a problem that the hardest part of Tequatl is the first quarter of it. So if you're not organized, you're not getting any rewards at all. But it should be the other way, where if you're not organized, you get the bare minimum. But if you're super organized, then you can get big fat gold chest full of greens and blues.
Yeah. So,
And bloodstone dust.
yeah.
Oh, there's more bloodstone.
Tasty.
Kind of it.
Jason's loving his bloodstone dust. I've got
It's good
so
fiber.
much of that.
I put it in my coffee. Good fiber.
I actually sleep on mine. I actually sleep on my bloodstone dust. Here's my covers as well.
So, do we want to talk about, while we're still in PvE, the new kind of system that they've announced, how they're going to do Season 2? They've kind of swapped up everything. I don't know if someone has the actual, or can find it, the actual
the
announcement
journal?
things. Yeah, the
Page
journal.
yeah.
Jason, I don't know if Jason
I've got it open.
he knows
I
the most about it, maybe.
I'll even put the
don't
link
know.
in chat, just to be a good guy.
They're not doing it for
Nope.
Season 1, though, are they?
They said that they want to, but that because they didn't design Season 1 with that in mind, that it's going to take them a while to kind of go back and rework some stuff. Like, some of the fights required like 50 people, so they're going to have to go back and try to fix that, but they want to. It's just not,
That's
you know, it's kind of soon trademark.
So is this the way they're going to get rid of, like, Zergy content, then? So you're not going to be able to do it in big groups, or...?
Well, it's still kind of unclear exactly how you're going to do everything. But what it really is, it's just their means of putting in permanent content, which is what that's been like the main issue that everyone's had, you know, since Living Story began. Is just stuff being there for 2 weeks and then being gone. So now you get in, you log in your one time, or you'll pay your 200 gems later. It'll always be there. So that much is solved.
And I have to imagine if they're going to go with a system where you can go back and do instance versions of what you did in the past, they're probably going to focus more on, like, the small little missions, like when we spiked Scarlet, and things like those. Things that don't involve a Zerg, things that involve a party, or...
Well, the thing is,
just an
they do seem to
individual.
indicate that stuff, even the big open world stuff, is still going to be around.
Yep.
Mhm.
They just said that they're going to, like, do a mix of stuff, so you'll have some content that you can go back and repeat, but they're not necessarily ruling out like what happened with the Karka event, where, you know, you have to log on a certain day and this awesome thing happens, and you've got to be there, but they won't necessarily tie a lot of stuff to it. And they're also getting rid of the meta achievement, like how you have to complete the meta achievement to do it.
Yes.
Forgot what the details were on that, but
You'll have to do other stuff. That's pretty much what I got out of it. You'll have to do stuff, and it'll be different. So whatever.
That's it.
Supposedly
That is
harder.
the actual direct quote.
That's what Colin's
Pretty sure
said.
Colin said that. Did he say it with a sword in his hand, though?
Hey, that's great.
I do like that. That's good. That's good. It looks interesting. It looks different, which is, you know, you got to add. That's it. The screenshots where it says, "Oh, you can replay this episode." So it's what? Did you say, Jason? It was 200 gems for each episode. you
Yeah,
have
200
to
gems
replay.
if you aren't there, if you don't log in during the 2 weeks when it's active.
Ah,
Which is the
okay.
part that kind of worries me. It's like
Hmm.
in the short, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be trying to make money off it, and because they have to make money somehow off the game, and it makes sense that they want to have a reason for you to log in. That's what Living Story was about in the first place. They want you to log in regularly. That's what, a lot of games have daily rewards or something like that, so they want to give you that. The issue you have is you're gonna have some of the same issue that you had now, which is, say, if someone logs in 6 months down the road, they don't get to play the old stuff. That's what it was back in the day. Now, someone logs in 6 months down the road, they can play with you, the guy who's been there all the time, with your friend, but they have to pay money to play with their friend, and that could be the part that I think is going to be not that well received.
Yeah. It's going to come down to, I think, how they present it. If they present them as kind of like the bonus mission packs they did with the original game, then it will probably be more well received. But if it just shows up and says, hey, you know that content you missed? Well, if you pay up, you can go experience it. I have to
Now-
admit, though, I thought when they first announced it that you would have to pay 200 gems to play it, regardless of whether or not you logged in. So I'm a little glad that if you go on at any point, you will unlock it forever.
yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah, and I've heard that you can bring your friends into the content even if they don't have it, but they don't get any rewards for it. So they can, like,
Oh, okay.
now I'm not 100% sure. I think
That
was-
almost sounds familiar. I almost feel like I've heard that.
Yeah, I think it was the Wooden Potatoes video on it or something. But I believe that you can bring them in, and they can play with you. So, they don't necessarily miss out on the story, and you can still play with your friends, but they don't get the rewards unless they have the content unlocked themselves.
Okay, someone's confirming that in chat too. So all right, cool.
That is cool. Yeah, and that makes sense. Why not?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, yeah, that's just excluding people completely.
But how does that work
But
then,
they-
even with like open world content, like something like what they did with Keswick Hills, for instance? If I wasn't someone who had that, can I still go there and do the stuff, and I don't get event rewards or
Well,
something?
Will
I
they
don't-
even do it?
I mean, open world content would be like the time limited stuff. So like the events that it's only going on for the certain period of time, and then they would have this kind of episode stuff tied to instances, I believe.
But it says here, open world content additions to Living World updates will permanently expand or change the world of Tyria.
Oh, well then, yeah, it'll be like Lion's Arch, where you can log on later and you can see the destroyed Lion Arch. Fun for all.
But but you wouldn't think it would include gameplay stuff like what they did with Keswick Hills?
Well, that statement doesn't necessarily imply that you will go back to be able to play it. It just says that the
Right.
stuff that happens in the living world will be noticeable in the future. Kind of like Lion's Arch exploding.
Yeah, so I mean,
So-
if you like the stuff that they're basically trying to say there's still stuff that even though these are instances, they're still going to be doing stuff that's going to permanently affect the world. Like they're not getting rid of stuff like what happened to Lion's Arch. They're just having this other stuff too. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So I think we'll probably see
I'm still not
things
sure to answer my
like...
questions, but I guess it's just a whole
Okay.
lot of...
I have to imagine we'll see things like, week 1, there's an event where we push into the Maguma jungle and kill a bunch of Wind Riders. Week 2, that's not available anymore, but you can see, hey, there's a base here now, and all the Wind Riders are dead. Cool.
So you think
Permanent
that
content.
not being available does not include the what it says about open world content being permanent changes?
I think the consequence of the
think
open
that-
world
of the
thing is going to
aftermath
be
is-
the permanent change, not the
Yeah.
open world content itself.
So technically, in a sense, we are still going to have temporary content that won't be available later.
Correct.
yeah.
There will be
Okay.
some of that, yeah.
Okay.
And they did announce that they still want to do events, like the Halloween and kind of the holiday events.
Oh, sure, festivals and stuff.
Yeah, festivals are still going to be there as temporary content, and they've said that they want to update the UI, so that basically once you hit 80, the living world or the story takes over, kind of. So your season 2 will start popping up as your story, and then festivals will have the current like the yellow or whatever it is. So they've tried to make it a bit more obvious which is which.
Cool.
So I thought that was nice because it's a lot of people were complaining, I think, about how hard it was to figure out what was actually going on. Like I know this was an issue for me when I wasn't paying attention to what was going on, and I would log in and I would get this mail about something. I'm like, all right, that's cool, delete. And then if I wanted to figure it out later, I just have to like ask people in my guild like, what's going on? Should I even care? And then, I kind of had to figure it out for myself, which was kind of cool. Like with the old Halloween, in the book that you had to find, and you had to go around like collecting clues. That was
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
cool.
cool, but it was also, I noticed, really hard for players who weren't necessarily used to having to find everything on their own. I know I finished the book thing just by looking up all the places online. So,
That's probably how most people did it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that kind of kills some of the
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, that's how Dolphy makes her money, though, isn't it?
I'm telling you, online games would be so much better without the internet.
I always try and make a point when I start a game not to look at any guides, but
Yeah.
it's so tempting. All the secrets are at my fingertips.
Well,
It's not like back in the day where you had to like call up your friend from grade school and be like, "Hey, do you have the codes for Sonic 3?"
Yeah, but that's exactly what I did. I had an older
Call the
cousin.
Nintendo hotline. 99 cents a minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
ArenaNet should open one of those. I would pay $20 a minute to talk to Colin Johansson.
I would pay $30 a minute to have my questions answered in a Quaggan voice.
Oh, God. Is Steve Bloom there? Can you do the Ritlock voice for me?
So,
I suppose any of you guys follow lore at all? Do you? You guys are all more PvP, hardcore-ish gents, right?
I follow lore a little bit.
Hmm.
I,
I'm just
I didn't play
curious.
much Guild Wars 1, so I'm not that much into a lot of stuff.
So I think a lot of people are excited for season 2 because we are going to be getting more familiar lore, or at least leaning in that direction, going into the Maguma jungle, very important area in the original game, and also that we're not fighting some villain that nobody heard of. As far as we know, we could
Yeah.
go into the Maguma jungle, and then there's Steve, the Shadow Sylvari. Because I guess Sylvari are all the bad guys in this game.
Well, there might be the other Sylvaria out there, that other pale tree that supposedly exists. That's supposed to be
Yes.
out in the west somewhere, I think. So
There could be a whole tree of Steves.
Oh God.
The Steve tree.
Steve.
Just go up and pick one off. But I think that would be more acceptable than Scarlet was, at least, because at least Steve has some background in him. If you've done the Sylvari stories.
yeah, I mean, if they're not going to do Cantha or Ilona yet, they might as well at least give people something from the first game, some area that they'll feel all nostalgic about.
Yeah, I think people are eagerly awaiting either the White Mantle and or the Mersat, which I know I am personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are like those white mantle goats, like right on the edge of Brisbane, in that one little area. So
They were some big bads from Guild Wars 1.
Yeah. So I don't know. What else do we have to talk about here?
Ooh, Tournament of Legends 2.
you guys can move on to the PvP stuff, and I'll go take my nap. That's fine.
No. No napping. I need to nap. It's just short, really. They just announced Tournament of Legends. It was a couple of days ago for me, because it's now Friday. But on Wednesday, and they're going to basically, if you enter the tournament, they're extending it to 128 teams per region.
Oh my.
So all in all, that's like 256 teams in PvP. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
That is a lot of dudes, and it should be quite good, because I'm actually quite excited, because there's if you get to a certain stage, I think it says there you can get the mini llama pet, which you can only win through this tournament. So there's things like that to kind of aim for. And I know more stuff, but I can't. That's all I can say.
But
it's going to be good.
So you really have no idea what you're saying.
I'm trying to read it off here because I know stuff. I'm just like, But it is going to be really good. I'm excited to see, because I want to see. There's been more EU teams that have actually come up in the last couple of weeks. Actually, we had like 7 or 8 teams in the ESL EU Cups, and Blue's been doing the other cups as well. And he's getting good turnouts. And we're actually getting teams which have come up. Like tonight, we actually had a team challenge kind of. There's a team called. Oh my God, I was going to call them the Extraordinary, the Civilized Gentleman. And the guy who was commentating is one of the guys in the team as well, Helseth. And they actually almost got beaten in 2 games that they played tonight against a team which is not unknown, but they're just, old vets who kind of came together. So it's actually quite cool as this started to become a bit more competitive. Teams are getting a bit closer. But I don't know, there's still a lot of ill will, and people are upset and sad and stuff. They're saying that there's not enough rewards and stuff for people. There's no reason for people to keep playing PvP. And there's no leaderboard. Well, there is a leaderboard, but there's no league. There's not all this stuff, which I think is going to come. Is going to come in the future. But at the moment, the leaderboard doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't mean a single thing, really.
Well, I can't speak for PvP rewards or leaderboards. I know the leaderboards are still. The rewards have definitely come a long way, but I think that with the Tournament of Legends, and I think they surprised themselves with the first one, because they had 32 teams originally, and they bumped it up to like 128 because there was such a huge turnout.
It was something like that.
I think that honestly, this approach to it is the better way for them to do the whole "we want to be esports" thing, because they started out being like MLG 8-person team invitational tournaments only, and then you just kept seeing like the same 5 people winning every single tournament and taking all the rewards. But I think with the Tournament of Legends, they have it open to everybody, and if you just win one round, then you get a nice little prize, the llamas. The super hardcore MLG pro Blaze It people can get their, super awesome legendary rewards for being awesome.
I gotta use that. He's right. It's true. It's cool. I mean, like, my girlfriend was actually in our guild team, and they got through the first round, and she got a llama finisher. That llama finisher costs 800 gems, and now 800 gems is a lot of gold. And it is, that's quite cool, especially if it's going to be something so specific to PvP. So many more people are going to enter it. You're going to get those guys who love the achievements and things like mini pets. There's going to be so many people wanting to
I was
pay
just
for
kind of
it.
bummed, though, to see that they put the llama finisher in the gem shop, and I kind of hope that they don't put the llama mini in the gem shop, because I don't have any stake in it. I don't really care. I'm not going to get a llama finisher, but I think it's kind of cool if you get these little things to say, hey, I did this thing once, and let me show that off. Kind of like the capes in the original Guild Wars. It wasn't like game changing or anything, but it was this little shiny trophy that said, I did this cool little thing, and I didn't win, but hey, I got far enough.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Exactly. They did that with the PAX final.
Right.
They gave the winners that one. I don't know. There's only really one guy that's still really playing, Rom, who's in the Civilized Gentleman. When you do this finisher, this big gold cup with a one comes down on their heads,
Well,
and there's only 5 people who've got that.
and then they've got the second place, and I think quite a few of them still play. At least
Yeah, that's
two.
true.
Yeah, I've seen a few bronzes on my face in World v. World.
Have they announced if they're going to stream the preliminary matches? Because that was the one thing that I was really heartbroken about, was that I couldn't see the first set of matches where you have the worst builds possible, and you've just kind of, a lot of times in, that's a big thing of game shows or like America's Got Talent or something, where they've got, you've got all the great stuff later on, which is all the really talented people, but then you've got all the people at the very beginning that aren't, and it's really, it's kind of fun.
So you're
to
saying
see
you
them.
want to see my matches, is what you're saying?
I'm saying I want to see my match streamed. That's what I'm saying. It would be fun to see those kind of special extra things.
Yeah, I agree. I know that Blue's old 2v2 tournaments, I would go in those every week with a friend, and we would just do the stupidest builds, and we would get knocked out in the first round. But I would get tells from people congratulating me for having the gall to go in there up against people like Tade and Canny with these awful builds that were taking hammer mastery for a great sword build and stuff like that. But I think with the Tournament of Legends, with 128 teams, I just don't think the resources are there to stream that much. Can you imagine, Jebro, do you want to cast 96 games in one weekend?
Well, no, you would spread it out. Do it over time.
Yeah.
I would not do that to you.
It was they were. I can't say exactly because I don't actually know, but I know there will be streaming up to a point. It'll be. It's obvious it's going to happen over a long amount of time. It can't happen like it did before. It was too much. Too long a show. It was just mad. And you wanted to watch the games, but you just couldn't. It was like a marathon. And fair play to the guys for doing it, because that must have been so tiring. But split up little portions and give people some more, because you can get more games out of it as well and stretch it over a longer time. So that kind of makes sense. And they'll definitely announce some more stuff that I can't talk about tomorrow.
Secret.
There's so many. There's not really much detail in there, but you can kind of gather from it. I mean, I think it's going to be really good, and I hope. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing NA a bit, because in the EU we kind of think we're a bit superior when it comes to PvP. It's because we won PAX and all this kind of stuff, and the meta's different. If you go to NA servers and you go to EU servers, the way we play and the way you guys play is completely different. Builds are kind of the same here and there, but there's we don't play NGs that much in our competitive teams and stuff like that. But I like that America does that because I like NGs. So
I play
that's
NGs.
fine. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. I'm really hoping that like having these tournaments is going to give, especially NA, who has such a problem with trying to stick together, an actual reason to stay together as a team. So I think that's one of
yeah.
NA's biggest problems. Is not that necessarily the players are bad; they're just so
That's
not
it.
sticking together. Like, you know, the first time that they lose just a random game in a team queue, they're like, "We're done." No, that's it.
Yeah,
See you
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
And it's just, you know, like that's not how you build a good competitive scene. You need to give people like a strong incentive to stick together because that's how you get great teams. It's after they've been playing for a couple months. So
That's
I hope they keep doing
100%
this
it.
stuff.
That is exactly it. I will say that there are no bad NA players. Obviously, there are bad players because there are going to be bad players, but there are good players. It's exactly how you say it. Like people just don't want to do it, and it's starting to get a bit like that in the EU. Like even the high competitive teams, you know, they're made up of 3 or 4 guys now. Most of the teams are looking for a 5th, and it's like or a 4th, and it's a bit crazy. But hopefully, you know, Tournament of Legends 2. That's going to make loads of people get together because they're going to want to get that little mini llama pet thing, which is almost taller than an Asura.
Yeah, no, I was looking at the picture. It was like it could just jump on and ride it. Like they've practically, with that, they've practically introduced mounts.
Mounts confirmed. Heard it here first.
Just spread it. Let's
Yeah.
just do it now. Get on Twitter.
The Guild Wars
Mini
2
llama
subreddit collectively
mounts.
quits the game.
Yeah.
Don't want to be.
When
a
does that
child,
start? The Tournament of Legends.
Have they even announced it? Signups start June 13th. They
Yeah,
just said on
So
the
tomorrow.
page.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is.
it will
fine.
be, I guess, like a month or so.
Yeah, and then they've got
Just pick
the.
some.
Yeah, so they announced the Friday, June 13th signups, and then the Ready Up episode right with that.
Friday the 13th to sign up for a tournament.
Yep.
I don't like those
Strong.
odds.
Well, you can wait till the next day. I don't think they're gonna fill up 128 teams in one day.
They'll crash the servers on the 13th. Unlucky for some. Hey ho, I don't know. It should be good. It should be good. I hope we get 128 teams on each region. That'd be sick. That'd be pretty sweet. You going to enter, Jason?
I'm actually thinking about it. Because I've PvP'd a little bit with some people in my guild, so you know, and the llama, you know.
Yeah.
Ah, he wants the llama.
But
see, look.
now that's an interesting. That's an interesting question, though. Is you know, like when the World vs. World tournament was going on, you know, a lot of people were like, "Oh, all the PvEers are in here just for the rewards." But you can have the same kind of issue here, where people like me or various other people who, you know, whatever, we dabble with PvP a little bit, but is it going to be overflowing because people just wanted to get the llama, and are dedicated PvPers who want to get in not going to be able to?
I mean, with the last tournament, I think there was the top 8 teams, you know, who were regularly in like ESL weeklies and stuff like that in EU. Anyway, I'm not sure how they did it NA wise, but there was about, I think they did the 10 team. You know, you're definitely through to this round or whatever, or you're definitely in the cup, because they did a draw. You know, it was an automatic thing, and he did it live. Blue did on this. It was like a pick or something. And I think 108 to 28 teams. I'm not even sure. It might get full, but I think it's good because you know what PvE is. If they want to get it, you know, it might even encourage them to just get into PvP more, even if they're just going to go for the llama. See, that's why I liked reward treks, because I was like, yes, we're going to get loads of people coming into PvP. But then, you know, Pavilion came.
Yep.
yeah, exactly. And my leaderboard score can go up, but now it's going down again. But Pavilion's just kind of, you know, that's kind of ruined it actually at the moment, because you know, you can go and farm stuff there. You don't need to go to reward treks.
The
and
farming is just so good at Pavilion right now.
yeah, exactly. You don't need to go and do it, and it's a shame. But I still like getting rewards for SPVP. It's good. And if PvEers want to go, then make a good team and get involved and do it, and have a look at Ready Up and make sure you're in there, because Yeah, I want to see some interesting PvE builds. Random full 5-man Zerk teams. And they go through fractals.
Hey man, you never know where the next meta is going to come from.
And it takes new people sometimes to do it, you know. People are very set in their ways. People are very set in their
I
ways.
could be
Somebody
a
could come in
trendsetter,
with,
what you're saying.
get the entire enemy team in a corner and drop fiery greatswords on them. That could be the new meta.
Just 5 Ellies with 5 fire greatswords. God,
Yep.
that would be so painful. It'd
Yeah.
be good. It would be fun to see. But that's the thing. It would be quite fun to see at least. So yeah, I'd watch that. Even just to see something a bit different, you know, because it's quite tanky at the moment, and you know, people are trying different stuff. But
How about if I get in, I'll record my matches and I'll make sure you can watch them.
yeah,
See just how
Yeah.
definitely. I mean,
how-
if I'm streaming, if your game doesn't get streamed, I'll come and stream it. I'll just stream it on my channel. Definitely.
Excellent.
I'll do that. I'll go in spectator mode and commentate. What's Jason doing now?
Right, what's someone saying?
What is he doing
What is
now?
that idiot engineer doing now? Dropping a turret there. Oh my god.
That's your
terrible.
lord. That's your lord. I had that in a game once. That's why I said that. A guy came over. I literally had to explain the map to to a lot of these guys. They didn't know what to do. They were at their own lord, trying to do something to him.
They're trying to stack and pre-buff him before.
Yeah,
the fight.
maybe they were trying to give him might. I don't know. They weren't attacking the Lord, but that's fine. But people need instruction, you know. There isn't that thing when people jump into PvP. There's nothing to say. This is how you do this, that, the other. You know, it's just you go into PvP, or there's that little guy who waves at you and says, "Come over here," and you can go and train over there and do this, and you can down people by pressing F. It's like, well, if you didn't know that before you get into this area, then what are you doing, really? But, you know.
What I would have loved to see is more high-level PvPers and even medium-level PvPers doing exactly what Jason said, and recording their matches and talking about them. Because I know, I think it was Helseth did a video last month all about mesmer kiting, and well, he had his Lord Helseth personality on of "I am amazing and you will never be this good, but in case you want to try, here's what I do." I think stuff like that is excellent for the scene to grow, to get, you know, kind of an in-depth look of what these high-level players are thinking, or even these, you know, just somewhat weathered players for the brand new people.
People are kind of afraid because it's
Exactly.
it's always, you know, that kind of competitive scene where it's like, I'm new, and like it started when I started shoutcasting as an example. I got trolled daily from our communities. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't play the game. You've not been in the high end team. And it's like,
You know,
dude,
I
I'll
remember
watch this as
saying
much
all
as you.
that.
I got trolled hard, and then it took so long to get, you know, the respect. But it didn't knock me at the time. But that's the thing, you know, guys like Helseth, it's not going to knock him because he's got that confidence that he can just make a video.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, MMO players probably not the most confident people in the world.
No.
You know?
And that's why they go for those kinds of things. The YouTube comments, the nasty statements, the "you'll never be this good, why don't you just quit, why don't you leave?" But hey, you know, why are you going to care about what some random person on the internet says? Especially in Twitch chat. Like this Pathos guy in chat? Yeah. Screw that guy.
Just random.
Just kidding, Pathos, I love you.
Paphos is a she. Oh god damn it.
Oh well.
But yeah, PvP, good stuff. Hopefully.
I mean, I think the one thing that I'm going to encourage everyone to do if you're, you know, kind of a new player, you're looking to just, you know, like you're a PvE or World to World, you don't know what builds to run, I want you to go on the forums, the structured PvP forums, read through, take every build that people say is OP and complain about, like PU Mesmer, MM Necro, make an entire team of them, and see how far you can get, and just make entire teams. I want to see 5 PU Mesmers. Like, that's all I want to see. I think that would be the best tournament possible.
The thing is like everyone says these things are OP, and then when you put 5, like even if you put
Yeah,
4
they're not.
warriors, Hambo, or something like that, you just can't get anywhere. And it's like, people always like moan and complain, and it's like that. There you go. That was a good link. Was that what you were going for? That was what you were going for, wasn't it? The link to the forums, the balance. That was good. I like it. That was good. Is that what you were aiming
The
for?
balance? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was definitely my plan.
Oh.
Yeah. Glad that you saw that.
Yeah. You're such a good presenter. You don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, we mentioned the Ready Up. I don't know why I thought we had gone over it already. Um, but yeah, so tomorrow, if you're watching this live, and just Friday the 13th, for anyone who sees this later, they're having a Ready Up where they're going to talk about their design philosophy. And so they kind of threw up this thing of they like to ask an open-ended question, and they asked, in your opinion, what should the strength and weakness of each profession be? What's your profession's kryptonite? And remember, no single profession should be the best at everything. And then they were going to, read through it and hopefully maybe mention some of it. And without getting, too into it, the one thing that I had to I have to say that I like it, because I like that they're still keeping the idea of every profession should be unique. We're not going to end up giving everyone everything and just have them all the same. I felt like the use of kryptonite, like, that word was a bit strong in a game that's supposed to be all about skill. The idea that anyone should have a kryptonite, where there's nothing you can really do, has been, like, grinding really badly on people. Because it's like the idea of, if I play this one build, there is some profession or build out there that is going to beat me no matter what I do. Like, they can literally just, fall asleep on their keyboard and they'll win. And I think that sent out not the message they were going for even. It was just kind of bad wording.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And I think I understand what they were trying to get at too, and things like how the warrior used to be extremely susceptible to conditions, or how the necromancer can't deal with somebody that either has high mobility or a lot of control on them. I think that's what they're going for, but I do agree that in the way that this game is supposed to be, anybody can beat anybody if they have the right skills. If you're running a build and there's literally nothing you can do about getting a stack of condies on you, then yeah, that doesn't sit very well. I mean, yes, there should be builds that counter other builds naturally, but not. I think hard countering is a little bit nasty in the way that this game is supposed to be designed.
Yeah, and I think it should be like natural counters. You shouldn't, as a designer, I don't think you should sit around like, alright, we've got scissors right here, now we need to make sure there's a rock to counter it. It should just be something that kind of naturally flows. Like, necromancers end up kind of naturally countering other condition builds in a 1v1, because one of the big things that necromancer is supposed to be good at is controlling conditions. So it's kind of hard to 1v1 a build that takes all of your offense and then throws it right back at you, and then still has all their offense. So, it's hard, but you can still technically beat them if you dodge those things or something. So I think, I think they just worded it a little wrongly. I like that they're going to go there. I hope that the show is really good. And I hope that they don't have one of those, like, really generic things that they've had before, where they kind of go on and they're like, yeah, we kind of want to do this and that, and, they don't really tell you anything. They just kind of go on for an hour and throw out nothing.
Well, Reddit has been pretty hush hush for the past year or so. I think they're still feeling that burn from I believe the fall after the game launched, where there was something, I can't even remember what it was at this point, that they talked about implementing in some stream or some blog post, and then they scrapped it, and people were very, very upset about it, and so they just stopped promising anything that wasn't ready, or stopped talking about anything that wasn't ready for production.
Yeah, yeah, and I've seen it in the Necromancer forums. Like, we've had, I don't know, maybe 2 dev comments in the last year, so it's pretty rare that we get them. And then, like, the one that happened, we got a dev post, and it was, maybe questionable wording, and they were hammered. and I mean absolutely just destroyed by everyone who went through there. And, on one hand, you kind of understand that, like, you guys shouldn't say certain things on the forums, but also you're still a person. Like, you want to be safe to be able to talk with your own community. Like, you're developing a game for us, you should be able to talk to us. And we shouldn't, like,
Exactly.
attack you the second you do it.
Yeah, the dev-player relationship in Guild Wars 2 is a little rocky right now, but I mean, it's like that in a lot of games because, especially on official forums, people just view it as their canvas to cry and whine and be right about everything.
Yeah.
But occasionally you do get, like, all the CDI threads have been excellent, and I think that's why they did them, because the only people that go into those are the people that care enough to go in there and think about what they actually have concerns about and write them in a calm and concise manner, instead of just going, "Warriors are so overpowered."
It's
Yeah.
so true though. But like, I mean, I'm reading through some of these comments, and it's like
Sorry.
Jason. He'll say something complete. He'll say something like, "Oh, he plays one area of the game, so engineer might." Just as an example, what would you say is the weakest for you, Jason, as an engineer when you're like in World v World or you're in PVE? What is a weakness? You feel? Doesn't even matter.
Engineers have kind of that master of none, jack of all trades kind of feel to me. They don't have any specific great strength.
Exactly.
my-
So his mode, whereas like I play SPVP, and mainly my main issue is my Condi removal is horrible, and I have to go into one specific trait to reduce my conditions, and even that was kind of nerfed to a degree, but it was overpowered. But there's ways of getting around it to gain vigor, to dodge, like you were saying earlier about dodging the necro abilities and stuff. But I wouldn't be in that position where I'd have that matchup, because that needs to be there. The weakness does need to be there. There needs to be a weakness for each class so that you can rotate around a map in PvP, and also so you can't just. People are already zerging content. If people haven't got weaknesses, what's the point? It's like we need the weaknesses to actually win, and then to actually feel a sense of achievement. And it's as long as everyone's got the same amount of weaknesses, then I'm fine with that. But when there's a class that's I feel like the game is pretty good balance wise at the moment. Personally for me, and as a shout in SPVP anyway. And it's different, World v World, like people might not pick up and do the exact things, that we will do in SPVP, I mean, they'll have, like might stacking Guardians or, Ellies with staff that are trying to, have speed all the time, or something like that's probably a bad example, but, it's completely different as well. The thread is so open. It's like PvE, World v World, and SPVP, and then the classes. I'm going to get into trouble for that now, but it's it's a really good idea. It's a good idea, and it's a really good idea. Whereas the CDIs, I think Dini was saying, that's what they need to do for each thread, and I think they did do it, but not that specific question. And it would be good. Stick one in World v World, then have class forums for World v World. Stick one in SPVP, then have class forums for SPVP, because every single class and every single mode is completely different in the way people play. There's no, I mean, it's like if I can take my builds from SPVP and play them in dungeons, but no one's going to want me to take me to Fractals because I need to have a Zerg build. It's that's what needs to happen. The forums need a bit more, depth to them. In my opinion.
I think they could do it if they were very specific, like if they put up the CDI but specifically said SPVP CDI, and then when they read through there, people who obviously weren't talking, people were talking about how like, dagger necros, with this certain setup that you only see in PvE, then you just go like, they're not paying attention, scroll down. And so
yeah, exactly.
I think they should be very specific because, like you said, there are very different builds, especially for some classes more than others. Certain professions have a very, very different setup. Some have similar but kind of a different focus, because in PvE obviously everything's damage, all the time, and that's not necessarily the case in PvP depending on what profession you are. But I think the CDIs are a great idea. The one thing that I've kind of seen recently is that people really like the CDI, but then they felt like it's taken a while to follow up on it. Like the Rangers had their CDI, and I've heard people of the opinion that it hasn't been followed up on yet. So I would like to at least, even if they're obvious, I would imagine that they're working on the behind the scenes. I would like to see them post in a thread. They can even lock it right away so they don't have to worry about feedback and people like screaming at them for their choices, but just post, these are our ideas. You don't necessarily need to go in exact numbers, but this is how we're going to respond to your CDI. This is where we got it. This is what we're going to do. It won't be today. It won't be tomorrow. It won't even be next patch. But we are working on it, and we'll get it to you.
So what, like a communication between you and the... Yeah, okay.
And it doesn't even need to be left super open. Just put it out there, and then don't worry about responses. You don't even have to read it again.
And I've seen other companies do that.
Yeah.
I've seen Blizzard with StarCraft. Oftentimes, if they're thinking of balance changes, they will do blue posts and say, hey, maybe we might increase the Overlord speed by 150%, or maybe we'll make command centers cost 50 minerals instead. And they'll throw those ideas out there, and they might not implement them, or they might just, throw them out. But they get them out there and say, this is what we're experimenting with right now. And then, you can get a little bit of feedback, or you can not get feedback. Just let them know that there's stuff coming in the pipeline and what their train of thought is.
Yeah, I think
there's an interview with John Smedley earlier this week I read where he says they do basically the exact same thing over at SOE. I mean, they're on Reddit all the time, posting what they think they're going to do and looking for input on stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, quite a few.
There's that famous, what is it, WildStar, where they say the devs are listening or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's like a quality, that's the main saying. Even I know, I've got the game, I don't really play it that much, but it's ingrained in my head. And it's like, they talk to them, and every day they're posting videos of people from their community, they're like killing raids and stuff. It's like, they're doing it to sell their game and to show, like, some communication. Yeah. Communication is good, and Ready Up is a good way to do it.
Yeah.
But a
strong developer community relationship is important, and I find that there are a lot of people in the Guild Wars 2 community that have a very warped idea of what this relationship is. There are a lot of people that think that we as players have the privilege of playing their amazing game, and we have no business telling them what to do with it. And then there are also the people that say, well, I make their paychecks, so they should bow to every single thing that I ask for. But no, we're
That's
all in this
MMO.
Together.
That's
Like, guys,
every
musical.
MMO.
Come on. They listen to us, and they give us good content, and we give them money and sweet fan art and come to their events and stuff like that, and just the cycle keeps going. We scratch each other's backs. That's how it should be.
Yeah, I think it's a lot about just, it should be an open relationship, but there needs to be controls. Like, devs need to be able to say, like, all right, guys, you're getting a little too passionate in this thread. Let's calm down a little bit, okay? And,
I agree.
They need to be able that it's not, like, a complete open where, the however many players you have are just, like, vomiting feedback at you. But, I think it's very good that they're starting to open up. And, it might take a little bit of time, but I think they're doing a very good job of it. So, we're hitting right on that 59-minute mark. Anybody have any closing comments before we head off?
I think there's a lot of fun stuff on the horizon. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, when I'm next on the show, we'll have the new Living Story season thing.
Oh, good, yeah.
'Cause I won't be here for another 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe Casey will actually choose to be on with me because she's just avoiding
yeah, she has been avoiding you. This is terrible. That's not obviously not
I
intentional.
still have you, Jethro. You're my bro, Jethro.
Yeah, I've
My
been here
Jet
for
bro.
every single one, people. I'm dedicated. I've got
Even
nothing
James
else
would be
better.
here this week for me.
It wasn't the last one. Well done, dude. Good job this week, by the way. Good
Yep.
presenting.
No audio
stuff.
issues. I'm learning.
Well, no one's complained, so that's good.
Well, yeah, you know, if they haven't complained, I've obviously done something right. All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed the show. You learned something. You can the VODs on YouTube, and they'll be right here after we log off. And we will see you in 2 weeks.
May I plug something before we go?
Yes, you may.
All right, so starting tomorrow on my YouTube channel, I'm starting a weekly group gaming contest called Team World v World Bingo. The link to my YouTube channel is in the description, and that video is there. But there's going to be prizes, and there's going to be silly World v World shenanigans, and go check it out and help me make YouTube money.
All right. And on that note, we will see you guys later.
See ya.
Farewell.